Hello, guys. So basically, for the past 1 month, I've been building up this application here, and I'm gonna take you through the steps that I did. If you wanna check my videos, you can go back to the previous videos that I've been trying to put this application together, and I've been trying to like do it step by step so that you can be able to understand. So I started with building two microservices using Maven. So we have customer and then we have product. From this, I connected these two microservices to a Postgres database using Docker. So I used Docker to run these Postgres over here. So these two microservices are connected to Postgres. Then after that, I created a communication between the two microservices using OpenFA. And then after that, I connected these two microservices to Eureka server so that they can be able to be detected actually online. So after that, then I used Zipkin for distribution tracing to be able to point out where failures occur. Now, today I'm gonna be building up this API gateway over here. This helps in load balancing, and I'm gonna go ahead and configure this API gateway here so that if you're sending information, it's gonna go fast through the API gateway before it goes to the Spring Boot that you really wanna send information to. So let's go ahead and first understand what an API gateway is. And before working with API gateway, you need to understand what are load balancers. And load balancers refers to efficiently, or load balancing actually refers to efficiently distributing the incoming network traffic across a group of back-end servers. So these are what we call multiple instances of service. Now we have a picture here. We have created a service called customer, this one here. The picture above shows how a client, which is this here, access the application through the internet. This kind of setup where you have one or two customers using the application is absolutely fine. But let's say that your application is becoming very popular day by day and you're getting more traffic. Like we have so many clients and they are accessing your application. The problem that you will have is that you either get a very big virtual machine to run the application, probably one with 32 or 64 cores, or lots of RAM and other high specs. It may solve the problem, but not for a long time. But the best way to solve this problem is having multiple replicas of your application. Okay, having multiple replicas of your application. This problem here is the problem here is that the client don't know which VM to connect to, since we have 3 VMs with different API address. This one here. This is the reason why now we introduce a load balancer, which is here now. The external load balancer is the main entry point for any client that wants to connect to my application. It is not easy to set up a load balancer, especially when you're dealing with big number of clients accessing your application. It's not advisable to manage load balancer by yourself. So if the load balancer fails to work, that's a big problem actually. So that's why we let cloud providers manage our load balancers like AWS, Google Cloud, NGX. But for this one, actually, we're going to go ahead and try to set up, and I'm going to show you how to set up this load balancer actually. So the first step that you need to do actually is I have to take you through the project that I have. So this is the project that I have, and I'm going to show you the project that I have here. So this is a point collection app that I created. I will leave a link down here, so you can go actually ahead and I'm gonna leave a GitHub link so you can access these codes. Okay, so this is an application called Point Collection App, and this is a This is actually a multi-module project, and I'm using Maven. So this is the parent module, and in here I have these sub modules. We have customer, we have Eureka server, and we have product. I created a video showing you how I created the whole of this application here. So you can go ahead and check my previous videos. So right now I have this customer over here and this product and then Eureka server. So I'm gonna go ahead and run these applications here so that they can register themselves in Eureka server. Okay, so basically what I'm gonna do, I run the application customer and product, and then they will register themselves into the Eureka server. Then I'm gonna go ahead and create this API gateway and also register it into the Eureka server. Then after that, we'll test our API gateway and see if we can be able to send information through API gateway. And for us to do that, I will click on my application. I'll start with Eureka server. So I will start running the Eureka server. Give it a minute, a second actually. So the Eureka server is up and running. Then I'm going to run customer, and I'm also going to run product. So if I go straight to localhost 8761, and that's the port that my Eureka server is registered to. So if I reload, okay, so let me check if I started my application. So I'm going to click on product. I'm going to start this. Customer 2. Oh, I need to start Docker. I haven't started Docker because I told you that for me to use Postgres, I have to be having Docker up and running. So I'm going to go ahead and start Docker. So if you haven't installed Docker, I have some courses actually showing you how to work with Docker and how to go ahead and install Docker. Just go straight and check on those courses, and they will just teach you actually how to use Docker. So give it a second. There you go. So I'm gonna go ahead and run now my customer application, and then I'm gonna go ahead and run my product application, and they will all register themselves to this server here. So if I reload, good. So if I go ahead and reload this Eureka server, so we have customer and we have product running at port 8080 customer, and then running at port 8081 product. So I'm gonna go ahead and create API gateway. Make sure that the API gateway is registered to our Eureka server. Okay. So for me to do that, I'll go straight to Spring Boot initializer. Spring Boot initializer, just like that. Spring Boot initializer. Then I'm gonna open up. This is gonna be a Maven project, so the project is Maven. Then I'm using Java. Then Spring Boot version, I can use 3.22. Okay. Then I'll come here and say API com.get. Actually, I'm gonna use wizard code. You can go ahead and type your group name over here. Then I'll type and say API gateway. Okay, this is gateway. Okay, then I'll say for load balancing. Load balancing, and that's the description. Okay, package it into jar, and then I'll go ahead and add some dependencies. And the dependencies that I want here is I'm gonna use Eureka because I want to connect this application of mine to Eureka. I want it to be registered to Eureka, so I'm gonna use this as discover as a client. Okay, then after that, so Eureka discovery client. Okay, then after that, I'm gonna go ahead and look for API gateway. Gateway. So I'm gonna type for gateway, just like that. So I just need these two dependencies here. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on generate, and it's gonna generate a project for me. Okay, it's gonna generate. And then I'll go ahead and click on extract. So I'll copy this actually, and I'll copy because I've downloaded it. It's inside API gateway. Then I'm going to post it. I'm going to paste it to my desktop. Okay. Then after that, I will go ahead and click on file to open up the project. Then click on open. Then I'll go ahead and check where the API gateway is, and I think this is it here. Then I'll click on OK, and then I will say trust this project, and then I'm not gonna open in this window because if I open in this window, it will close my point collection app. So I'm gonna say new window, just like that. So I'll give it some time for it to load in there. Okay, I'll give it some time for it to load. Okay, so if I click on this drop down arrow here, I have SRC, I have pom.xml here, then I have main Java, and then this is our main class over here. So I'm going to click on API gateway, and then this is a Spring Boot application, as you can see. So this is nice. It's a Spring Boot application. That's nice. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead to resources, and I'm going to change this from application property, and I'll say application.yaml. I'm going to use a YAML file here. Then I'm going to click on refactor. So I will use the YAML file. Great. Then first thing first, here I will give the name of my application, and I'm gonna call it Spring Boot. Spring. So application name here, and I'm gonna call this API gateway. So that's the name of my application. Okay. Then after that, I'm gonna give it a port. So I'm gonna say server 8080. So I'm gonna give it 80. So 8083. 8083 because we have 8081, 8082. Let me check actually. So I need to check my Eureka. So we have 8080, 8081. Yeah, I'll just give it 8083. It's okay. 8083 is still okay. Okay. Then after that, I will go straight to my pom.xml. I need to do some few changes here. When I loaded my dependency gateway, I got gateway MVC, but I don't want this MVC because this version here has been deprecated actually. So it's important to note that this version here has been deprecated since Spring Cloud Gateway 3. So this means it's no longer actively maintained and new features won't be added. Okay. So I'm not going to go ahead and use Spring Gateway MVC. So I'll go ahead and use Spring Cloud Starter Gateway. I'll take this MVC suffix out. Okay. So let's go back again to our project. and I'm working here on this API here. So I'll go ahead and delete this. I'll just go ahead and get rid of that. And then I will click on reload just to get rid of that. Great. So then after this, I'll go straight again to my application.yaml. And then here, I want to expose only one microservice, and I want to expose the customer microservice. Then once I expose customer microservice, you will go ahead and try to expose the product actually microservice using the same steps that I'm going to use here. So I'm going to come here and say Spring Cloud, then Gateway, and then routes. Then in here, I'm going to say ID. Sorry, ID. And then I'm going to give this ID as customer. Okay. So this customer here is the customer that we have, is this application here. Okay. This customer, CUS, this customer here. Okay. Then let's go ahead and say URI. Then the URI will have load balancer. Okay. And we're going to say customer with capital letters, customer with capital letters, customer. And this customer here, this one is the one that we have over here. This application name, customer, application actually customer. Okay. Then after that, then we also have predicates. So I'm going to go straight and type predicates. And then this predicate here, we have a path is equals to slash, and then API slash v1. Okay. Then slash customer slash, and then so this predicate here, this is the path of our microservice here. So if I go straight to this is the path of our microservice. Okay. If you go to controllers in your customer microservice, you'll get the exact same path over here. Okay. So this is the path that you get from your controllers here. Okay. Then if you want to do the same thing for product, you will go ahead and take this information and change it, customize it, and use the same way, actually use the ID, URL, and predicate, just write it down here, just copy, just like that, and then come down here and then do the same thing actually. Okay, do the same thing. And then here you're going to write product, then product with capital letters, and then you provide the controller over here. You provide then the path of your product over here. As simple as that. That is if you want to expose two points. Okay. Then after that, we also have main. We're going to say main. So I'm going to come here. So I will say main, then web application type, and this is going to be reactive. Okay. The reason why we are using reactive is because in your Spring Boot application configuration indicates that you have chosen to run the application as a React web application. Okay. That's the reason why we are using React. Okay. Great. Then after that, I think that's it. Then after that, I'm going to go ahead and run this gateway of mine. And then when I run this gateway, so I'm going to go down here and run it. So as you can see, it's running well. And then I'm going to go straight to my server and I'm going to reload. And then I will have API gateway, registered to my Eureka server as API gateway. Remember, okay, as an API gateway. Then after that, I will go straight to Postman. So I'll use Postman to send information using 8083. I'm going to use this 8083 and I'm going to send information to customer. Okay. So let's go ahead and see if the information actually will be able to do that. So I have this localhost 8083 API v1 and then customer. Okay. This here is the path to my customer microservice. And I'm going to use now our API, which is 8083. I'm not going to use 8080. Okay. So I'll send this information to see if it will be successfully sent to our customer. So I'm going to click on send. And as you can see, this is a 200 status. So that means it was successful. Then I'll go back again to my microservice over here, point collection. Then I'll go to my customer. Okay, there's something. Yeah, actually, it has been sent. Actually, we have this. It has been sent successfully. Okay. The reason why I'm having this error here is because I need to start Zipkin. So I'm going to come down here to Docker and then I'm going to click on start. Yeah, but the information was successfully sent actually. So we have been able to set up this API gateway and send information to our customer. And then after that, this API gateway has been registered to Eureka Eureka server as a client. Thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you haven't done that and drop a comment if the video is helpful. Yeah. Thank you so much.